Hi, my name is Grace Sommer, and we're here with Pastor Jeff on our series, Regardless of Circumstance. And today we're going to be asking the question of how do you suffer well as we're talking about stuff like this?
Yeah, so we're talking about this in service this weekend about why God allows suffering, right? And that we're talking about 1 Peter chapter 1, that in part it's because it shows the genuineness of our faith and that God allows that for us, not for him. It's not us proving ourselves to God, but really us being certain of our faith and certain of what our beliefs are. So doing that well is like a thing. Like it's hard. And there's probably not like this broad answer to that, you know. So ironically, I was just talking to some friends after service who are suffering. They're having some really tragic losses in their extended family, and we were talking about that. And I said to my friend, I said one of the things I encouraged her to do was to rest in God's sovereignty, right? So she was kind of looking and saying, "What do I do to fix it? How do I help this person, this person, this person, this person?" And I said, there's probably nothing to do. You probably need to be there for them and love them and pray for them. But there's not like 5 steps you take to, make something better. So I would say things like this. I suffer well, kind of number one, by like not resenting it, but by looking and saying, God, what do you want to teach me in it? Life isn't going the way that I would want it to go, but it's going the way that he wants it to go. So I want to embrace that, not resent it. Secondly, I think you look for God's grace in it, and so there are these ways that God shows up, and it's kind of glimpses of His love. Yeah. So usually when something's going bad, not everything is, right? And so you can see, like, if something was going really bad, but a friend was really faithful, or you saw your family really love each other. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see those kind of things, and you thank God for His presence, even in that circumstance. The third thing I would say is get people around you, right? One of the things I was saying to my friend, I was like, there's actually no right way to go through this. You kind of are going down a path God's leading you down. So getting counsel, getting support, everything from like people who will just hear you and not try to make you better, all the way to like people who have gone there before, you know, and can at least let you know that you're not losing your mind in the middle of it. Prayer is massive. God's word is massive. God's people is massive. It's stuff like that, you know, and so it's running to the Lord, not away from the Lord. It's embracing the trial, not resenting the trial. And it's those kind of things. And this is, I said in service, this is everything from the trivial to the tragic. And so things feel like really big deals. And in the broad spectrum of life, they're not. But in the moment, they're really painful, right? And then there are things, like I was talking to my friends, I'm like, that's really a big deal, what you're going through, and you're not overreacting. So how can I support and help you with it? But I'd say that kind of stuff, you kind of navigate it.
We were kind of talking about this the other day, me with some other friends, like the idea of like processing through what you're going through, like with the scriptures and with God, like in the Psalms, like a lot of the time there's a psalmist and he is just talking about like he's feeling all of this and he'll go through it and not like pretending like we aren't feeling this way, but processing it with God and going to him, but then reminding yourself like of God's sovereignty, like who he is and his goodness. Like I think if you have that balance of like I'm feeling this way, but I know this is true about God, like I think that's where you kind of like come to grips with how your life is,
There's a cadence to the Psalms, isn't there? Like the psalmist will be like, you have forsaken me and you will never reject me again. And then he's like, but your loving kindness is so amazing. And but I think what you're saying is very, very insightful. Like it is a human being processing something. And that's what we do. And it's individualized. I told people, like, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to suffer, just don't blow your life up.
Yeah.
And that's where you get wisdom around you. And as I was talking to my friend, she was saying, some days I'm so mad at God, and then some days I feel so close to God. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
That's the way that works.
Yeah.
But as a father, I remember the first time my she's not little anymore, but my daughter Naomi, she broke her collarbone. Mm-hmm. And I remember she was screaming. She's just little, like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I ran to get her. When I picked her up, it moved, and she screamed even more. And it didn't make me mad. Mm-hmm. It made me sad. But as a loving father, I understood why my daughter was not reacting the way that she normally would.
Yeah.
So it's like resting and all that. It's just a part of it, right? And it's okay. Like when David and lashes out at God in the Psalms. But then complete the cycle, right? He always swings back around, and he's like, none of that's kind of out of my system. Mm-hmm. I remember who you are and what you're like. It's good.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being with us and on this series, Regardless of Circumstances. We'll see you next time.